Hi everyone, hope you're well. Welcome back to my Greek kitchen. It's actually great to be back in the kitchen. We had a little break. We went to see my family in Greece and spent Easter with them, and that was really lovely. But it's nice to be back and cook another Greek dish with you today. We're gonna be making Moscharάκι Κοκκινιστό. Κοκκινιστό, literally translated in Greek, means red sauce. So we're gonna be making beef in red sauce, and we're going to be using lovely spices. And I have to tell you, this dish is the basis of, so you can vary it. You can add in the sauce potatoes or peas or herbs if you like. I just like it the way we're going to cook it today, and we're going to serve it with patates tiganites, which is Greek fried potatoes. And if you've ever had Greek fried potatoes, they're absolutely amazing. So let's have a look at what you will need for the beef in red sauce. For the beef, you will need 500 grams of stewing or chuck steak cut into equal portions. I'm cooking for 2 people, so I'm using 500 grams. But if you're gonna cook for 4 or more people, then you need probably 1 kilo or 1.5 kilos of beef, and then you can vary the other ingredients. I have here a medium onion, finely chopped, a tablespoon of plain flour, some lovely spices, a cinnamon stick, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and 4 allspice berries, which I think make all the difference. Half a cup of red wine, and you can use any red wine you like or drink. A tin of chopped tomatoes, salt, pepper, and some Greek olive oil. First things first, I have my pan here over medium heat, and I have put 3 tablespoons of Greek olive oil into my pan, and I'm gonna let that heat up. Here, the beef, I'm gonna sprinkle it. I have washed it and pat it dry, and I'm gonna sprinkle my tablespoon of flour all over the beef, and with my hands, I'm gonna coat it. I'm gonna then fry the beef, so I want it to have a really nice crust. I'm gonna seal it all over. Come a little bit closer. So very gently, just with my hand. Can you see? The flour will help it get a really nice seal and get crispy. Give me a minute, I'm gonna wash my hands. I think my oil is ready. So, very gently, we're going to add, can you hear that? Gentle, because we don't want your beef to burn. I'm just gonna put everything in. I'm not gonna move it. I'm gonna just leave it for a couple of minutes on each side so it gets a nice, lovely crust and it seals all the flavor. 2-3 minutes have passed, and I wanna show you this. This is what you need. A really lovely crust. So start turning your pieces slowly. I'm very impatient, so I need to exercise patience when I do this dish, but it is really important to let your meat seal on one side for 2-3 minutes and then turn it on the other side. The beef is beautifully sealed on all sides now, and it smells wonderful. Next thing, we're going to add our onion, and we're gonna give this a couple of minutes, and with a wooden spoon, we're just gonna stir it around, because all this loveliness underneath, we will deglaze the pan, but give it a helping hand, just like this. And give the onion just a couple of minutes to get to know the beef a little bit better. It smells divine. Okay, the onion had a couple of minutes. We're gonna deglaze the pan so our wine goes in. Give it a stir, and with your wooden spoon, move the dish around so you deglaze the pan and you reserve all this beautiful flavor. So give it a couple of minutes until the wine has evaporated, and then we're gonna add our chopped tomatoes and our spices and some water, salt and pepper, and let this beauty cook away for about an hour and a half, or until the beef is lovely and soft. The alcohol has evaporated and it looks lovely, so it has a really nice thickness to it. I'm going to add the cinnamon stick, the 4 allspice berries and the ground cinnamon. I'm gonna give this a little mix. Smells divine. Honestly, you have to try this dish. It's really easy. And if you like beef, it's lovely. Tin of chopped tomatoes goes in. And I'm gonna use the tin and water from the kettle. Just be careful so the water is not boiling because the tin will heat up and will burn your fingers. Just fill the can to the top with warm water, add it in. We don't waste anything this way. Give it a stir gently. And what we're gonna do is this now. We're gonna bring this up to the boil. So turn the heat up a little bit. Bring it up to the boil. When it comes up to the boil, turn the heat down, on simmer, put the lid on and let it cook and do its own thing for about an hour and a half. Be mindful to check it every so often because you wanna make sure that the sauce it has enough water, so you don't want it to run out of water before the beef is nice and soft. So from time to time, give it a check and add a little bit of warm water from the kettle from time to time. My dish is coming up to the boil now. I've added pepper and I'm gonna add about 1/4 teaspoon of salt to start with, and then I'm gonna let my beef cook and I'm gonna add more salt if I need to at the end. So salt and pepper, you know, it's personal taste, so go for what you like. Final stir. Come on. Beautiful. Simmer, turn the heat down to simmer, lid on, and let it do its thing for an hour and a half. But don't forget to check it in between to make sure that it has enough water and it doesn't dry out. What can I tell you about patates tiganites, which is fried potatoes, fried chips? They're amazing and they're very simple to make. And there isn't really an exact recipe for this, and it depends how much you like them. So, as I said, I'm cooking for 2 people. The beef is cooking in the background. And I have peeled 3 largish potatoes. And I have them in water, and I'm gonna keep them in the water until I'm ready to fry them in olive oil. Now, the way we do it at home is this. So we peel the potato and then using a knife, we slice it into slices like this. You can do it using a chopping board if you like. So use the chopping board to chop the potatoes. But if you do it like I do, just be careful with your fingers. And then what we do is we take each piece of the potato and we slice it in equal chunks. Well, as equal as we can get them, right? Because there is something quite delicious about having potatoes that are different sizes and they get crispy and soft and they're delicious. So as much as you can. This is the way my mom taught me, so I'm sure there are other ways of chopping the potatoes, but this is how we do it. So, as I said, peel, slice, and then just like this. And keep them in water until we're ready to fry. And when we're ready to fry, I will show you what we need to do. I'm very pleased to tell you that the beef is beautifully cooked and I've switched it off now and it's cooling down. Now it's time to make patates tiganites, Greek chips. Okay, so remember we have peeled and chopped our potatoes and they're still in the water and they need to be in the water so they don't get brown. What we need to do now is drain them, and I have here a clean tea towel. So you drain your chips and you put them in the towel and you need to pat them dry to remove as much moisture as possible. Here we are. I'm gonna now cover the potatoes with a clean tea towel and make sure that they stay here until we're ready to cook them. And while the potatoes are having a little rest, would you like to see what we did with the beef? Come and have a look. Okay, I'm gonna keep you in suspense a little bit longer. Before I show you what has happened with the beef, I just wanna explain this one here. So I have a frying pan over medium to high heat, and I have in the frying pan a cup of olive oil, and I'm gonna let this heat. I'm gonna let the oil heat before I put my potatoes in. That's very important, to let the oil heat. Come and have a look at this. So my water was enough for my beef, but look how beautiful the sauce has thickened. So what I've done, my beef has been cooking for an hour, and the last half an hour I took the lid off and let it simmer uncovered for half an hour. So all in all, my beef had an hour and a half, and I have tried it. It's lovely and soft. The sauce has thickened, and I have also checked it for salt and pepper, and trust me, it's super yummy and delicious. Let's give it another try while the oil is heating up. It's divine. Yeah. The cinnamon, the allspice berries, divine, divine, divine. You have to make this. And, forgive me, I like it with patatas tiganites, with fried chips, right? But you can have it with rice, with couscous, with some really nice crusty bread to mop up the juices. It's delicious. I'm very excited to show you this bit, okay? So I've put the potato in, and this is what you need to hear and see. Come and have a look closer. Okay, so it needs to be, the oil needs to be in this temperature, so when the potato hits the oil, it starts sizzling. So very carefully add the potatoes to the hot oil, very carefully, so you don't bend yourself. I'm showing you now the way we do it at home, okay? And you need to let the potatoes cook until they're golden and crispy outside, and trust me, they will be lovely and soft inside. I have to share this with you. Sometimes when I fancy Greek chips, but I don't have a lot of time, I peel the potatoes, chop them like this, and then parboil them. So drop them into boiling water for a couple of minutes, not too long, because you only cut them thin. Parboil them for a couple of minutes, drain them really well, and then follow the same process. So heat my oil, my olive oil, and then fry them. They take less time to cook, but they're still crispy and soft and fluffy and absolutely delicious. Ian just said, do you think you've gone a bit over the top of the chips? I have. So I have a pan full here, and I have another portion of chips to cook. Again, it depends on how much you like patatas tiganites, and I like them a lot, so I do have the tendency to go overboard. Just make sure you don't overcrowd your pan and give so the potatoes have space to cook all the way through. This is very exciting. I've taken the first batch off now, and I will show you in a minute. But what I've done now is I've turned the heat up a little bit to high, and I've put my second batch of chips in, and I'm gonna let them cook. Now, this is what your chips should look like. Lovely and golden brown. The only thing you need to do now, you cannot eat them, you need to let them cool down a little bit. And I've put them, as you can see, on greaseproof, not on greaseproof, on kitchen towel to make sure that the residual oil is absorbed. First thing, bit of salt. Second thing, Greek oregano, the best. A sprinkling of Greek oregano on the chips. Give them a twist. Leave them on the kitchen towel for a minute or two, and then take them off and enjoy. Or, if you can control yourself, keep them for later to serve with your Moscharάκι Κοκκινιστό. The moment of truth. These are the only chips left. We ate everything else. So, nice pile of chips on the plate, and I have to give you a little tip. if you have a little bit of feta in the fridge, crumble a little bit of feta on top of the chips. With the beef in red sauce, divine. Now I'm going to serve. This is delicious and it's a lovely sharing dish. So if you have people coming around, oh, they will be really impressed, trust me. So remember, Μοσχαράκι Κοκκινιστό με πατάτες τηγανιτές. So beef in red sauce with Greek chips, Greek fries. And as I said, if you have a bit of feta, crumble it on top, it's divine. And you take the chips and you just mush them into the sauce. Trust me, you have to make this dish, it's delicious. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. You've been absolutely wonderful in supporting me and thank you very much. Take care of yourselves and I'll see you here next time for some more Greek cooking. Take care.